let me hear you make some noise. Thank you so much. I'm Chris J. Evans, and for the last 15 years since I did my first wedding, I've been fortunate and blessed to tell so many incredible love stories around the globe. It has been an absolute dream come true. I never imagined that I would be on a stage in front of so many incredibly talented photographers and other members of our wedding industry, and I'm just super thrilled to be here. So let's get started. We're gonna elevate your brand, and this is the path to luxury. These are the things and the tools that I used 15 years ago. I was waiting tables, I was working doubles Monday, Tuesday, working a lunch shift on Wednesday, going to shoot family pictures on Thursday, and then filling my wedding weekend calendar Fridays, Saturdays. So working my ass off like all of us. So what I'm telling you, proof positive, is that if I can do what I've created, each and every one of you can do that as well. Your brand is not just your logo. It's your whole story, and it must be told incredibly. I see this pitfall over and over with a lot of my coaching clients. They feel that, okay, well, we've got this logo and it looks amazing, but we have to go deeper, because just the logo itself is not going to reel in that dream client of yours. It has to be attached to your whole story. The number one hashtag across all social media is hashtag love. Anyone have a guess of how many impressions this hashtag has? Million, 2 million?
10 million.
10 million? We're getting closer. 2.1 billion posts and counting. So if you are not attaching hashtag love to every single thing you're doing, you're missing out on 2.1.22, that's your post, impressions on social media. What's so powerful about love, especially in these days? Love transcends borders, backgrounds, beliefs. Each of us in this room, I imagine, have been invited into so many different cultures and religious ceremonies. So to be part of this global story about love, when this is also baked into your brand and your story, well, you're amplifying not just a service, you're amplifying the most powerful emotion and human connection that we can possibly have with each other. Love is romance, family, friendship, kindness. Again, all things that can be brought into your brand and harnessed to start to become part of your brand story and attract what you're doing in your services, especially when we get to talk about pricing. When we're trying to move to higher and higher pricing, the more we are connecting with clients on these values, the more we're going to be trusted and invited in. When we post about love, we're contributing to the global conversation of what it means to celebrate and care for each of each other. Mandatory. Again, all the craziness these days, this is the real stuff. And when we can infuse everything we do with love, we're going to be guided to success. My mantra for the year, I always come up with a new mantra every single year: grounded in gratitude, elevated by excellence. Luxury clients, high ticket paying customers, they expect excellence. When I'm getting flown around the world to some incredible event, they expect excellence. Might not be perfect, none of us are machines. I've dropped the ball. Like, who in here's made a mistake on a wedding day? Yeah, whoever didn't raise their hand, you're lying. We all have, and that's okay, because when the service and the experience is so incredible, it outshines any mistake within reason. We gotta, can't totally blow it. Let's define luxury, okay? Oxford defines luxury as a material object, service, or experience conducive to sumptuous living, usually a delicacy, elegance, or refinement rather than a necessity. I hone in on that last sentence more than anything else. Let's be honest. Let's really be honest for a moment. Nobody needs a photographer. They don't. They can go down to City Hall, they can get married. They don't need us. They want us. And the more effective we can be at amplifying why they want us and how they cannot possibly live without us is going to guide us into a space where we are collecting fans. When our clients can be fans, first and foremost, then they transcend into customers. Luxury is not about the price. This was a big revelation I've had in the last couple of years. When I was first getting started, luxury has to be this $20,000, $50,000 photographer. It has to be this crazy product. It has to be this belt. It has to be whatever it might be. But luxury is not about price, because our clients, they can have anything they want. They have unlimited means. For them, luxury is not about price. Luxury is how you make people feel. I can go down to the burrito stand down the street from my house, and I can be greeted with, "Hey, Chris, how are you? It's nice to see you again." The usual, that's luxury. That made me feel good. That made me feel seen, pampered, respected. When I go to some beautiful hotel and I don't even know how they know my name, but I'm walking into the lobby, "Mr. Evans, welcome to the property." I'm like, how do you guys know that? It's like, that's luxury, because that made me feel good. So beyond just the price points, when we can start to cultivate and build an experience for our clients that is so special, and for me, everyone's going to define what these feelings are to them. It's like, when you're interacting with the world, what are the moments where you're made to feel special? When you're going and purchasing or investing in an experience or a product, and then amplifying that message through everything you do, that is going to be your first step into getting into the world of luxury. Steve Jobs, icon, said, start with the experience and work backwards from that. Okay, I'm going to touch on this again later on, but I do not sell photography. I'm going to say that again. I do not sell photography. I deliver photography. What I sell an experience. I sell to my clients the way I'm going to make them feel, the way I'm going to make their family feel. I sell to them my ability to be the person to record for them and their family and their friends this iconic moment. When they're paying high premiums, they expect excellence. Excellence in how you communicate. Excellence in how you show up. Excellence in how you solve problems. They expect, if even when things don't go awry, which they do on every single wedding, we're solving problems. And we can solve them like this with style, grace, and gratitude. That resonates with them. And that, again, is going to pull them in. Step one. What do you want? I'll say it again. I'm going to come look at some friends over here. What do you want? Until you have the answer to this question, it's your business in your life. Where do you want to work? Who do you want to work with? How much do you want to charge? Do you want to charge $10,000? Do you want to charge $20,000? Do you want to charge $50,000? There's some people in our industry that are commanding $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for an event. That's incredible. And they identified what they wanted, and then they were able to create strategies to attract that. Step two, our foundation. We must define our clients, our brand, and our values. Yeah, please, everybody take pictures. If we don't know who our perfect client is, and we're just throwing this giant net out in the ocean, when we pull that net in, there's going to be a couple fish, but there's going to be like a boot and a tire and an oil can, right? And those represent those clients that it wasn't a great match, where it's like you can't possibly do your best work for a client who's not your perfect match. But when you really get down and you understand what type of person you do your best work for, what location you're going to do your best work in, you can start to create these strategies to attract that perfect client. Luxury clients have There's a couple things we need to really harness. First is the awareness goals. What are our luxury clients looking for? They're looking and seeking for meaningful and memorable experiences in every facet of their life, and they're willing to invest in them, right? Our buyer's journey, when we want to go purchase goods and experiences, speaking about myself here, I've got to weigh my daughter's college funds. I got to weigh car payments. I got to weigh a mortgage. I can't just go willy-nilly go, oh, we're going to go to the Bahamas for 2 weeks and we're going to have a party and we're going to spend $200,000. That's not how we make decisions. But our clients in this sector, their resources are much deeper than ours. So they don't need to weigh these decisions. They want something, they purchase it. They want to invest in their experiences, and they're so happy to do that, right? And so you've got to understand the buyer's journey is much different than our own. Their values, they value the high quality, luxurious products. They're spending $50,000 on a Birkin bag. They're going on these wild shopping sprees, right? Because they want to invest in these iconic products that are made with exquisite craftsmanship and that make them feel special. All those values that we already described, these other luxury brands are doing that as well. Define your client. This is so important in your foundation. Who your brand is for is going to so much easier let you attract them. Are your ideal clients going to be creative, stylish, inspiring, adventurous, motivating? Are they dreamers? Are they original? Are they fun? For me, they're always kind. This is my perfect client. This is just mine, but I challenge each of you to define your perfect client, because I know when my client is stylish, oh, we're gonna vibe. I know that when my clients are creative, we're gonna vibe. When they love going on adventures, same. So I'm infusing my brand values into every bit of content that I post, whether it's the photo itself, whether it's in the caption. I'm showing and telling exactly what makes me feel good, because that perfect client's gonna be like, yes, that's our guy. There's gonna be some other clients who are like, no, I don't like to go adventures, I wanna sit inside. I'm not gonna do my best work for that person. Define your brand. What makes your brand unique? We are in such a hyper competitive industry, only if you want to look at it as a hyper competitive industry. These are the 4 easiest ways you can stand out from the crowd. Your style, your brand voice, your content, and most importantly, your capabilities. Okay, because we're all at different places. Some of us, where's my buddy Pervez? He can go up in a helicopter and shoot one arm out over the Dolomites as a couple is like on the snow-capped mountain. It's incredible. That's not my wheelhouse. That's not in my capabilities, right? But I have so many more. And so when we can hone in on all the things that make us excellent, and we show that story again and again and again, this is gonna be one of the biggest repetitions we're gonna talk about, is telling your story incredibly, because that's how you build a brand. As we evolve in this industry, we need to be constantly defining and redefining our brands. The photographer I am this season is not the photographer I was 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago. Each of us, every time we go do a job, a photo shoot, anything, here at Wppi, who's learned something new? I've learned something new already. We've already evolved, just like that in real time. So telling that story to the fans that are watching and tuning in, and the potential clients we have. You know, I lived in Hawaii for 10 years, so all I shot was these tropical weddings. That was how my brand was defined. I was like, okay, I was missing out on big city weddings, which I wanted to do, so I had to redefine my brand. I had to find clients who wanted to get married in a big city. Show that work. What you show is what you're gonna bring back. And it's always defining and redefining. In the beginning as well, again, this was especially in Hawaii, I loved off-camera flash, I loved backlighting. That was my jam. I was gonna backlight palm trees, sunsets. Like when I started in Maui, I was like the only guy doing that. So it instantly gave me this big point of difference. But then a lot of clients were like, oh, that's all he does is the night stuff. I'm like, no, I don't. So I had a concerted effort, again, to redefine my brand. And so I did a campaign, and this is what each of us can do. If you ever feel like you're pigeonholed in one style or one look, just do a campaign, social media post, showing the contrast of your work. This was the day and night campaign. I would do a day shot, then I would do the night shot. Day shot, sunset shot, showing range. And this was just part of a very simple exercise to show an evolution and to show the range. We're still in our foundation, our brand values. These are so important to me. These are the fundamental beliefs and principles that will guide your company's actions, shaping your company's identity and fostering meaningful connections with your clients. If we are not connecting with our clients on a holistic, whole circle, we're not going to be able to do our best work. My brand is inclusive. My brand is fun and stylish. What's your brand? Like, when you identify these things, it's going to be so much easier for you to set your strategy to attract them. Again, what does your brand say about you? Mine is inclusive, driven by style, inspired by beauty. Like all of us, committed to craft. And the most important tenets of my brand is that unforgettable service. There's not a wedding I do that everyone at that wedding, probably till their amnesia kicks in, will remember the photographer from Julie's wedding, right? Because my team, these are our values. We are offering incredible service, not just to the client, but to their families, to their parents, to their friends, to the little flower girl. You know, like when you're invested, again, in love and connection, well, then you're going to create trust. Because when your brand values and your client values intersect, you create trust. And this is the most critical element in not only booking more clients, but booking that next perfect client. Committed to craft, like each of us. Like I said, luxury clients are seeking the highest quality goods. So if we aren't every day trying to get 1% better, 10% better, 100% better, how can we see the world slightly different? Okay, we are inundated with posts every day, and it can be overwhelming. I get overwhelmed. I'm scrolling through Instagram, like, oh my gosh, like that photo's amazing. I could never even take that photo that someone else posted. I'm like, that is so inspiring. So how can I get better every day? For me, being committed to craft is the relentless pursuit of mastery, fueled by dedication, passion, and our unwavering determination to refine our skills and to create meaningful and more valuable work. Okay? When it comes to trends, sure, a lot of clients are seeking trends, but one of my favorite designers, Karl Lagerfeld, said that trendiness is the final stage before tackiness. Trendiness is the final stage before tackiness. And I couldn't agree more with that, because when all of a sudden this sea of, the cheek-to-cheek close-up photo is going through Instagram, and every photographer there is posting that same picture, or when a certain editing style becomes a thing, and then everyone is posting that exact same editing style, well, if everyone is same, who is possibly different? So my entire career, when everyone was taking a right, I just made a little left. And just try it. Because you need to, you have to. Absolutely. If you cannot be something different than what the sea of same is, you're going to get lost in it every single time. Style is not a preset. I do sell presets, they're beautiful, you should check them out. But I'm not talking about that. Style is your authentic self, and this is the key to attracting your perfect client. This is me. My friends who know me, I do not show up at a party, not like dress kind of fun and whatever. This is my style. This is what I like to amplify. We each have our own style. So when you're amplifying your style, your authentic style, everyone's gonna know this wedding planner at this party is like, oh my gosh, Chris, I just onboarded this client. They're so stylish. They love Gucci. They love this. All these funny things. You go perfect for them. You're gonna vibe. You're gonna create this atmosphere of connection and people wanting to introduce you to the right people because you have so thoroughly expressed your authentic self. We have to define your brand values. So each of you, I challenge you to define your brand values. It's all based on the law of attraction. Your brand must seamlessly help you connect with like-minded clients. For the last, I'll be honest, the last 8 years, I have not had a single client where I was like, I love you guys. Oh my gosh, the wedding was perfect. We matched on style, we matched on taste, we matched on values. My clients inspired me to be a better person. That's when I get to create my best work. And when you are telling your story from every bit of the way, those are going to be the same people that you attract because we're all different and there's so much work to go around. For any one of us to win, no one needs to lose. It's just better amplifying your message. Your brand voice, this must establish you as an expert in your field, that you are established and trustworthy, and most importantly, you're matching in taste with the client. This is so important. If I've got a client, my favorite color is red. If my client hates red and just abhors red, I'm probably not the guy for them, right? But if they love red and I love red, it's gonna be a match. You know, so I have this little tagline with my fashion and editorial background. You'll be the heroes of your epic love story, told through style, grace, and gratitude. Everything I do is grounded in gratitude, which we're gonna talk more about in a moment. Oh, we'll talk about it now. 2008, it was the final weekend of summer. I was living in Manhattan Beach with my wife, and our daughter was 2 years old at the time. She was one years old. And I'm a surfer, so I go to jump out in the ocean. The waves are this big. I used to surf semi-pro. I've surfed all around the world. If you'd told me what I'm about to tell you was going to happen when the waves were this big, I would have bet the farm against it. I jump out in the water, my first wave, take off. I jump off my board like I've done a million times before, head first into a shallow sandbar. Instantly, I couldn't breathe. It felt like there was an elephant on my chest. Red and black stars. Another wave comes. Luckily, it was low tide, so the water was only this deep. I couldn't even stand up, couldn't feel my legs. I roll on my back. Next wave hits me. I'm just lying there. Luckily, thank God, there was another surfer who was there, pulled me in. My wife comes running down. Lifeguards come running down. I'm like this wholly disoriented. Next thing you know, lose consciousness. I wake up in the hospital to the doctor putting the x-rays up. He's like, oh, Mr. Evans, I want to tell you, you are the luckiest person I have ever met. And I'm like, I don't feel very lucky right now, doctor. Please elaborate. He's like, well, you broke 3 bones in your back. I fractured my thoracic 6, 7, and 9, middle of my back. He said, those are going to heal. Those are going to heal. But you fractured a small bone in the back of your skull called the occipital condyle. Now that bone back there, for us non-neurosurgeons, we're artists here. This bone protects your spinal cord as it fans into your brain. He said if that had severed one of those, you would have died instantly. You would have bled to death in your brain. If it had even clamped it this much, you would have had a stroke and most likely would have been paralyzed. Your life would be fundamentally different for the rest of your life. That was the first moment in my life that I had been taken out of commission. I'm an ADD guy. I'm a go, go, go. I want to jump on my surfboard, my skateboard. I want to just be busy. I was trying to make it in reggae bands. I was a reggae guitar player. I was like, I'm going to be a famous reggae guitar player. Who knows a famous reggae guitar player in here? Not too many people. But this was the first time in my life, up to that point, I was 30, I think I was 32 years old. I was 30 years old. That I was able to take a 10,000-foot view of my life. Okay? Up until then, my wife had been the primary breadwinner, supporting her reggae guitar player husband. At least I was good at guitar, so it wasn't, my bands were really moving forward. But I was able to take a giant view and sit back, be anchored in gratitude, and make a decision that was going to fundamentally change my life. She loved Maui. She fell in love with Maui. So we packed up everything we had and we went off to the island of Maui with 8 duffel bags, a cat, a dog, our 2-year-old, and $6,000 cash. Moved into a teeny tiny, it's called an ohana, teeny tiny little house in Haiku, Maui. Survived off guava, local mahi-mahi, and apple bananas. Where's Scott Drexler, my friend from Maui? He's here. And it was a very simple life. So simple. Got a job waiting tables at the world-famous Mama's Fish House restaurant. Now, I mention this restaurant because this is an establishment that's 50 years running, family-owned, ultra-luxury. We're talking $200 a person for lunch before you get to their delicious Mai Tais. So the level of service I learned about, the level of solving problems for hungry people. We'll say that again, solving problems for hungry people. Much more challenging. When we're on a wedding and our bride and groom haven't eaten all day and they're like starting to get a little eggy, you read that energy, right? Learn tools, always have some power bars, always have a little snack, have an assistant ready to go grab some like tray pass for our couple. Solving problems is one of the single most important things. Here's something a lot of people haven't seen is me in a t-shirt. This is me and my family. The biggest thing I learned from this whole experience and this length of time I've been in the business is there's just no room for ego. Gratitude is the only attitude. We need to foster kindness and lead by example. That I can be here now and sharing these tenets and the story, it means so much to me. I've had so many of the guys on my crew, they're buying houses now, they're starting families. That's more special to me than the paycheck. And when we celebrate each other's successes, we're creating this ripple effect. If you aren't part of local photographer communities in your town, start one, join one, be part of everybody's success. And when we take ownership in that, everybody soars. Alex Munthey from the Free Radicals says, you keep what you give away. If you're giving away kindness and you're giving away opportunity, it's going to shower back at you tenfold. I know we're going to get a little woo. I'm not Tony Robbins, but I'm working on it. But it's so true. None of us got here alone. I had so many hands extended to me when I was waiting tables. One night, I was waiting on this couple. They're like, oh, what else do you do? I'm like, oh, I take pictures. I'm trying to get into weddings. They're like, are you good? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm pretty good. They're like, well, it's your lucky night. We're 2 of the biggest wedding planners on Maui. Come up to our house tomorrow. Show us your menu, your price list. I'm like, oh, amazing. I go back to the computer. I'm like, I don't even have a price list. I don't even know what that looks like. So I Googled, I was like, wedding photographer price list. And I put the first one together, And again, without them lending that helping hand, they were the ones that kick-started everything. Seek the truth, reveal the beauty. This expression really, for me, sums up my approach, my brand values, and everything I want to amplify as far as the work goes when I'm performing the wedding, when I'm photographing it. I'm no longer invested in poses. I'm not interested in doing the same thing, square chested groom, bride with this move. I did that pose forever. Oh, sorry, George Michael moment. Some of you got that. Now we're talking. What this means is by authentically and honestly directing my clients, I'm looking to capture a moment for them that I could not possibly create for the next client. And to me, that reveals so much beauty. That is one of those other tools that helps me separate when everyone is doing the trend, whatever that trend is, we're going another way. Step 3, exclusivity is not a 4-letter word. It's 11 letter words. I used to think, until very recently, that exclusivity had to be this very highbrow, very unattainable, like, oh no, you're gonna have to talk to my assistant first before you talk to me, my receptionist. And I had strategies in place where it was like, it was me responding, thank you for getting in touch with Chris J. Evans' office. He's available next week. It was me. I used to think that was a strategy. And then I had a revelation on one of my last experiences. I was at a luxury hotel property doing this wedding. And the revelation occurred to me when I walked in the door that exclusivity is inviting. I felt so special to be there. They made me feel like thank you for deciding to invest in our property. Thank you for investing in our experience. And the more over this last year, since I had this epiphany, that I have created an even more welcoming environment, more access to me, more of me to them, then all of a sudden it was no longer distant and unapproachable. And this was creating an even deeper bond. And when you can anchor that in grace and gratitude, man, I'm lucky to be alive. I'm lucky to be walking. I'm a little emotional. To even think for a moment that everything I loved in life would have been taken away from me when I had that accident is why I ground each and everything I do in such gratitude. And this fosters an experience where the clients not only feel privileged, but genuinely appreciative of our presence. How many of us, when we're done with the wedding, they come give us that big hug and they're like, thank you so much. Wow, no one's even seen a single photo, and they're like, you guys were great. I love that. And that's not because they saw any photos, because they haven't. That's how we made them feel. And that's what people will remember forever. Forever. Step 4, we're going to start to get good here. Visual branding and brand identity. Consistency equals trust. If you're not only showing your very finest, most exquisite, most emotionally charged images, then the clients aren't going to have that extreme trust in you. What and where you show is who and where you'll book. If you want to do weddings in Hawaii and you've never done one, get on a plane and go to Hawaii. Put together a creative team. If you want to do weddings in Bahamas, get on a plane and go to Bahamas. Put together a creative team. Reach out to local florists, local planners. Everyone's going to be so excited that a photographer from wherever you're from wants to come and create art. And rephrase it. I no longer use the term styled shoot. I don't like that shoot. I like the term editorial. I do not like to refer to each other as vendors. We're creative partners. So when you're reaching out in these amazing places, hey, would you like to be a creative partner on an editorial? They're like, yes, I do want to be a creative partner on your editorial. And people will be so excited to help and bring their talents and bring their vision to life. Because you're doing not only work that's going to help amplify you, but you're doing work that's going to amplify that florist, that planner, that venue. It's a giant ecosystem, and the more we build together, like I said, the more success we're each going to have. I only want to shoot beautiful destinations. I only want to shoot fashion-driven couples. This is what I show. Visual branding for social media is so important. We all know this. But I think what a lot of us forget is what's the goal of social media. It's to inspire, to excite, and to engage. You get a like on your photo, you got to be jumping in on that. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thanks for taking the time to check me out. I love your work. It takes 2 seconds. None of us except, where's my friend Pervez again, are getting 12 million, likes on a photo. I still have time to respond to 10 people. They're like, oh, cool photo. It's amazing. One of the tips I like to do, and this is really, really powerful for your feeds, is from a single event, take 9 incredible images and use those as your 9. I'm not trying to utilize social media as like a like for like, one photo at a time. It's a portfolio, right? So I'm taking, these are all from, each one is from a single event where we did like a couple shot, a detail, we kind of showed the range of the event, but this shows consistency. All of this was based on my ideal client, and then we engage with our followers. Step 5, your brand manual. Who in here has a brand manual? Okay, this is the good stuff. So the brand manual is how you create your brand identity, utilizing all the tools we've already talked about. And the most incredible thing of having a brand manual is then when you start to invest into, maybe you're hiring a graphic designer or you're going to do a new website, you have this incredible foundation for them to pull from. It's going to consist mainly of 3 elements: your color palette, your fonts, and your logos. Everything we do is consistency. It's not just consistency on the photos that we show, it's consistency on the types of fonts that you use. It's consistency on the language that you use. I'm so happy we have a sign language here. This is the first time I've had that. It's amazing. It's all about showing the clients that you are an expert in your field, you know what you're talking about, and you are going to align with them on taste. This is actually pulled from my brand manual. Color palette should complement and not compete with your content. You go to any luxury branding website, simple, clean backgrounds. The products are what pop up the page. We're not splashed with distracting elements. Even though we might like this design, it's clean, it's simple, it's there to do a job. It's to show the clients that we align on style and taste. To go a little deeper, my color palette was pulled from like luxury hotels. As I'd be traveling, I'd take pictures of like textures, and when I sent it to my designer, I was like, I love these textures, I love these colors. So we built it based on the experiences that my clients were already having in order to make my brand look familiar to them, to other brands they're investing in. These are my fonts. They're used in all communications. They create a consistent visual identity. Little moment looking at some of the top luxury brands. I think we all see a pretty clear common thread, with the exception of 3, Chopard, Ferragamo, and Cartier. Everything is a very clean, easy to read from the back of the room font. It's very simple. They're short names, right? These are the brands that our clients are investing lots and lots of money in. So if our branding doesn't feel and look somewhat familiar to them, well, then it's not going to land them because it's not matching their taste, right? I got very granular when I was designing my logos. We're going to talk about that in a moment here. What are brands that they're liking that my brand can look familiar to them in some way, shape, or form? So in that fast, it resonates with them. Your logo is the ultimate influencer. Must project trust, quality, and luxury. You have that long for them to say, this is Gucci, this is Walmart. And that's just the facts. Like, they know, they're very discerning. Updating your brand's logo over time also helps you stay relevant. It's a hard one. And again, it's defining and redefining. As your brand grows, as your ideal client grows, as you start to book better and better weddings, your brand should evolve with you. Who has not updated their logo in this room in 3 years? Okay? In more than 5 years? Okay, it's time, you guys. Just little tweaks, little tweaks. I'm going to take you guys on a little logo evolution for me, and we're going to talk about the price points of each one of these times I updated my logo. I was able to move up market and book higher caliber weddings. In 2010, when I started, at the time, everyone on Maui had like a watercolor splash and a brush script and a made-up name. But that's what everyone was doing. So I'm like, okay, I need to come out bold with my brand values. I love sports, This was actually the Prada font, and it's the Prada colors. So like Prada Sport, I had a bottle of that cologne. I literally copied that for my first logo. I was charging $3,500 the average booking there. Then in 2014, I updated it. I got the Vogue font. It's called Dido. Gave it a little italic. I was able to double my rates. Now I was at $7,000. This was the top of the market where I was living in Maui. And I knew it was, hey, it's time to refine again, right? So then in 2016, I added a new tagline where fashion, nature, and weddings collide. And this was the year, 2016 was also when my youngest daughter was born. Her name's Clover, because she was our lucky Clover, because this was also the exact same moment that my career went into absolute overdrive. Absolute overdrive. My company was doing over 100 weddings a year on the island of Maui, and we were just like every 3 days just doing another wedding. It was crazy. Then, March 2020, March 14th to be exact, we had outgrown Maui. It was time to move back to California. My parents were getting older, and we just wanted to make sure our kids got to spend some quality time with them. So we packed up everything. We left the island. Everyone was saying, "You're crazy. Your business is so good. Like you're losing. Like you're out of your mind." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go to California. I got my brand. I got all my brand values. I got all this strategy in place, right? So I'm gonna hit the ground running. I'm gonna go to networking. I'm gonna meet people." Well, March 16th rolled around, and that changed everything. This was the second turning point. Okay, the first one was breaking my back. That took me out of commission. March 2020, like all of us, took everyone out of commission. But again, it gave me a moment to do something I was not able to do in so many years. Kick my feet up, take a 10,000-foot view of my brand, of my company, to identify that I had evolved, I had changed, my work had gotten exponentially better from when I first started. I now wanted to do bigger weddings in more exotic locations. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know a single wedding planner. We're going to talk about those relationships after this. I did not know a single wedding planner in California. And then this happened, right? So all I had was social media, was just reaching out, cold calling. I had nothing to lose. I met a photographer earlier today. She's like, "I feel a little intimidated to submit my photos." I looked at her photos like, "These are amazing. These are so worthy. You have nothing to lose," right? And especially then, there was absolutely nothing to lose after being curled up in the fetal position for the first 2 weeks, thinking that 10 years of work was just going to be evaporated because of the pandy. I call it the pandy. I took this time to do a full rebrand. Again, every single element I have just talked to you guys about today, again, I went into cocoon mode. At that point, I was 8 years in business. I had to reflect on my ideal client, who that was going to be next, my brand position, where I wanted to go, what my brand goals were. I, again, asked myself the question, what do I want? That's why it's so important that you are constantly answering that question for yourself. I was now in a new market. My clients had changed, and I had changed. This process took over a year. And then finally, at the end of that, we emerged here. I had a new price point of a new market I was going to get, and that is not a number that just happened overnight. This is a number that has taken 10 years. I fly all over the world to go to high-level networking events, to make new connections with new wedding planners. To foster community, not just in California, a global community. I have flown to New York City to have lunch with a potential client, out of pocket, just for potential. Some I book, some I don't. Effort is love. And to be at this place has required, just ask my wife and kids. I've just had like 6 weeks at home, which is the first time they got to like remember what I looked like thoroughly. And now they're ready to like kick me out again. But this has all been intentional steps at every single moment. And we all have the power to do this. Define your brand, redefine your brand. Define your perfect client. What are your brand values? Share, show. Share and show. Constantly. Step 6, the client experience. What they remember most is how you made them feel. Every single client, if they're not falling in love with you and you're not falling in love with them platonically, you're not doing your job right. I don't ever want to spend a wedding day, a wedding weekend, a wedding week with clients that the energy exchange that it requires, we all know we're exhausted after a wedding, not necessarily because our bodies are tired, because we've just poured every ounce of ourselves into making this experience so special for them. So why would we give away our most valuable, personal energy if it's not reciprocal, right? So when you're making people feel amazing, they're going to tell their friends, oh my gosh, you got to call Chris, you got to call Susie, you got to call Alon, you got to call, it's either. It's because you're making people feel incredible. When they feel incredible, they look incredible, and they photograph incredibly. The experience is the product. Everyone take a picture of this. Put this on your fridge. The experience is the product. This is the most expensive possible component of what you have to offer. Photography is the deliverable. If I went just head to head on just the photos alone, in this room alone, I would lose out half the jobs. There's so many incredible photographers. I've so many incredibly talented and inspiring photographers. I will never, ever, ever try to compete with anyone on the product. I believe in the product. I believe in the photography, of course. But photography is the deliverable. I'm selling the experience. And when each of you can transition into selling the experience, you become infinitely more valuable. Style, grace, and gratitude. Again, my brand values. This is what's just enshrined in my service. For me, everyone's different, but for me, it's all about from how you show up and how you walk into the door, how you're presenting, to your vocabulary, how are you speaking with your clients, and understanding and reading the room and being able to effectively communicate with them is part of the service. And it's not that it's calculated, you're just adapting into that room to be a seamless extension of their surroundings. Luxury service is going above and beyond that. Every wedding I do, at the end, the client, I give them a handwritten thank you card. Thank you so much for having me. It was so incredible spending time with your family. Cannot wait to share the photos. Love, Chris. That's so simple, but it means the world to them. I just hand it off in a card and say, hey, thank you so much, you guys. When they hand back another envelope for me with a cash tip, I like that too, but that's not the point. That's not expected. But for me, showing my gratitude that I can walk, that I'm still alive, that I'm not waiting tables anymore, that I get to be invited into these incredibly magical moments. I'm expressing gratitude with every action and interaction I do with my clients. Incredible service creates incredible trust. The more they know that you have their back, they're going to go to the ends of the earth for you. They're going to tell every one of their friends. They're like, okay, you guys got to have Chris. He was incredible. Step 7, pricing. I know this is a hiccup. Who wants to make more money in here? Strive not to be a success, but rather be of value. That's what Albert Einstein said. This is so true. How can we establish the value of what we do beyond just the photos? The value is I know that just my presence on your wedding day and your presence on your client's wedding day, if you are not utterly enhancing the experience, well, you're leaving value proposition on the table, right? And that can look like a lot of different ways. If you're a little more reserved and that's your brand, that's great because you're going to attract clients that are also a little more reserved. They're not going to want like so much interaction. They might just want you to be a fly on the wall, and that's great for you because that's your wheelhouse. But if your client is like an over the top that wants like all the energy and like, you got to hype me up, and if that's not in one of your capabilities we talked about earlier, again, you're coming up a little bit short. So by being of value, that creates success. The perception of value is also very key as well. And this is where those elements of having your branding and your logo look familiar to other luxury brands, that's a perception of value. The work that you show, from the venues to the decor to the couple themselves, these are all expressions of value and perceptions of value that are going to help clients know, oh yeah, he's the guy for us. Or like, I don't know if he's definitely way too much for us. Like, I get that. Custom collections. I don't even have a set menu price anymore. Every job is a custom quote. If it's gonna be something, it's a 15-minute drive from my house with 30 guests, that's a different price. If it's a full 5 days in Europe and we gotta go on planes and I gotta bring a whole crew, that's a different price. So everything is custom and bespoke to each client. I've also done thorough market research. I know what my contemporaries that are doing the similar weddings that I'm charging, and I want to be in line with them. We control the market. I've lost jobs because I didn't pitch enough money. I had a planner saying, they did not take you seriously because you said you do it for $40,000, and every other photographer said it was going to be $80,000. I was like, oh, like they're getting a deal. Again, perception of value. Some clients, they're going out to buy a watch, they're buying a Patek. They're not going to buy a Rolex. Rolex isn't good enough for them, right? So everyone's looking for something different. So the more you do your market research and you know where you're comfortable sitting, that's where you go. And you can always A/B it. On a month where you're like kind of sold out and you don't want to take any more work, the next inquiry that comes in, I challenge you, double your price and just see. If you book it, that's your new price. If you don't, come back down. You lose nothing. Step 8, your online presence. Critical in today's day and age, we all know this. Social media and website. I love this photo. This was actually, since I love fashion, I'm always scouring fashion magazines. This was inspired by a Dolce & Gabbana ad where like a bride's going through the city and the groomsmen in that picture were like these old like fishermen, like Portugal fishermen guys like holding dead fish, but they're like, hey, baby. So I copied that photo for them, and it's one of my favorite photos. A lot of the mistakes I see is not effectively telling your story. I see photographers with incredible work. Again, work that I can only dream of making, but they're just not effectively telling their story. Focusing too much on the product and not the experience. Not utilizing collaborations and targeted boosts. When you're on Instagram and you post an image from the wedding, if you're not tagging and asking for collaborations with each vendor in that photo, creative partner, then you are leaving extension and amplification. You're leaving it out. You're missing out on it. Some key tips for your social media is share a mix of your polished work along with your personal insights. It's so powerful when you're like, oh yeah, here's this picture I did on Lanai. The couple was just walking down to cocktail hour, and I just stood back, stood behind them. I just took the picture, and it's as simple as that. Totally organic. It was like 4 pictures. That was not even set up or staged. And telling that little story, the couple's like, oh yeah, it seems so effortless. Like, we don't want to like be working and posing and feeling uncomfortable. It's just effortless, and tell that story. Engage authentically by showing this behind the scenes moment. Your website should only be your best work. Again, highlighting exactly where you want to work and who you want to work with. Prioritize easy navigation and a seamless booking process. It's crucial. I know when I'm trying to buy something online, if I can't even find contact or buy now, I'm over it. Like, you got to make it easy. Consistency is key across all your platforms. This is where that brand manual comes so handy. You can align the look and feel of your Instagram to your TikTok, to your website, to your ads that you run. Everything should be in line with your brand consistency. We're almost there. Step 9, community and networking. I would not, could not, absolutely not in a million years be where I'm at and do what I do if it wasn't for investing in high quality networking and building community. Absolutely. The bedrock of all of our businesses is in the relationships, planners, networks. And here's a surprise, each other. Each other. To think for one moment that any of us are competitors is absolutely the wrong place to start. I'm attracting the perfect client for me. You're attracting the perfect client for you. I might get an inquiry and I'm like, I can't hang out of that helicopter like Pervez can, so I'm gonna send that job over to Pervez. And this is reciprocal. And honestly, when a referral comes in from another photographer, it feels great that the person admires you and knows that you'll represent what your brand stands for. But that client is already like, oh yeah, well, I've already was invested in this person's work, but if he says this person's great, they gotta be great. It's a very powerful referral coming from each other. Planners, each other, past clients. If you aren't utterly utilizing your past happy clients, you're missing out. One of the little things I do when my couples go off on their honeymoons, I say, hey, you guys have a moment when you're on this beautiful beach? Just throw the camera up and if you give me a little review, that would be amazing. So I get they'll be, here we are on our honeymoon and Chris was amazing, blah, 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 blah. It's them on this luxurious adventure. They're speaking to their network. We get to repost it. And again, keeps this ecosystem going. So I implore you to utilize your past clients in this way. At the end of the day, you have to find your tribe. We won't be for everyone. I want to be. I'm a hopeless people person. I'm an Aries. My birthday's next week. If I'm not invited to the party or asked to sit at the table, I am heartbroken and devastated all the time. That's okay because I built my own table, right? You just got to find your tribe. And if we think that it's going to be we're for everyone, we just can't be. And it breaks my heart when I say that, but it's true. We have to focus on relationships within the business and with each other that begin with shared values, shared taste, shared style, and most importantly, respect and kindness. The higher you can climb, it doesn't even matter high or whatever. We've all encountered people in this industry that are not kind, right? We've worked really hard, right? We're all super talented, but let's be honest, we're all here, and in a couple hours, we can learn how to take at least make the exposure of any image we could possibly ever want to make, right? So to be caught up in our own head just because we are taking pictures, no, that's not the right approach. What fills me with confidence and kindness and gratitude, again, is that ability to share an experience with other people. It only takes one person to open that door. That is so, so, so important. We're going to go to questions after this. Authenticity, sophistication, and personalization is the key to the luxury market. If you want to book these clients that are going to take you to these far-flung adventures and all over the place, you have to connect on their shared values. You've got to provide that value to each other. When I'm working a job, I'll show up and the florist will be, hey, is there any new content you need? Is there a special flower day that you haven't used before? What can I create for you that will help amplify your business? To the planner, is there any special decor or is there a personal element, something that you went over and above to create today that is really meaningful that I can create for you to help build your brand? To create that, you're building value for each other, not just the client. Reflect on your current processes. So important. Again, where can you elevate? Can you update your logo? Commit to small intentional steps each and every day. I've partnered with an incredible new resource, Shoot the Veil. Everyone who downloads their app will get my new Mastering the Art of Direction. This is 25 prompts to help you direct clients in that effortless, glamorous way. No longer will you be stuck on like the same static poses. It's a really great resource. The app is amazing. It's a community, and it's an incredible resource. So please check those guys out. But I think that's it, you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to be floating around the next few days. I'm an open book. I'd love to help anyone as much as I can. I love you all. Thank you.